Welcome. Welcome to the deep dive. Just take a second, look around. You see the headlines, right?
Yeah.
All about the latest AI marvels. Or those little suggestions popping up on your phone.
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
Even the way your news feed looks.
hmm
Artificial intelligence, it's not just coming. It's already here.
It really is. It's not sci-fi anymore, is it? It's woven right into, well, everything. How we get around, what music we find.
How we get our news.
Exactly. And with that, you get this really interesting mix of reactions. People are excited, definitely. You hear about breakthroughs in medicine, climate change.
Solving the big problems, potentially.
Right. Huge potential. But then there's also a lot of confusion, maybe bewilderment about what AI really is.
And maybe a little bit of fear, too. About jobs, privacy.
For sure. It's this landscape where, the hype often gets way ahead of the actual reality.
That's exactly it. And that's why we're doing this today. Our mission here is to, cut through all that noise. All the hype, the confusing stories. We want to give you a clear, grounded understanding of AI. We're going deep, using insights from a really highly regarded source.
Yeah, a source that promises to untangle that hype. We're focusing on Melanie Mitchell's book, Artificial Intelligence, A Guide for Thinking Humans.
Right. And we're drawing from a really solid review of that book, one that actually praises it for, quote, untangling the hype.
It's known for being clear, balanced, making complex stuff genuinely accessible, which is rare.
So our goal really is to give you a shortcut. You don't have to wade through tons of tech papers or confusing articles.
They're pulling up key nuggets for you.
Exactly. We want you to be an informed thinker in this age of AI, to feel confident, understand the conversations, look at new stuff critically.
Without feeling totally overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah. So let's unpack why this guide is seen as such a, breath of fresh air. Okay. So let's kick things off by looking at the AI conversation landscape right now. If you spend any time online or just watching the news, it's constant, isn't it? These headlines about AI.
Oh, absolutely. You can't avoid them.
And they're often really, enthusiastic, maybe over-enthusiastic.
That's a good way to put it. Overhyped is the term the review used. Promising everything under the sun, almost.
Sentient robots, writing symphonies, fixing climate change overnight.
Right. It feels a bit like the Wild West sometimes. Information-wise, everyone's shouting about the next big thing.
So why? Why all this hype? It seems like more than just excitement about new tech.
Well, there are a few things feeding into it. First, the tech is advancing incredibly fast. That's undeniable.
Okay, fair enough. We are seeing things that seemed impossible just a few years ago.
Exactly. Like AI creating images from text or translating languages almost perfectly. That alone generates real excitement.
True.
Second, there's that whole sci-fi appeal. We've grown up with HL 9000, Skynet.
Ah, right. So we have these images in our heads already.
Precisely. And it's natural to project those ideas, those sometimes fantastical scenarios, onto the tech we see emerging today. We sort of want to see the extraordinary.
And for you, listening, trying to figure it all out, all this hype just creates confusion.
Total confusion. You want to know what's real, what's actually groundbreaking versus what's just, marketing spin or speculation.
You're just drowning in it.
Yeah. And that's why that phrase describing Mitchell's book, A Breath of Fresh Air, is so powerful.
It signals something different. Calm, clear.
Grounded, pragmatic, accessible, which is exactly what makes her work stand out. So let's talk about Melanie Mitchell herself. She's not just some commentator, right?
Not at all. She's a distinguished professor of computer science, Portland State Santa Fe Institute.
Oh.
Deep credibility.
So she really knows her stuff from the inside out.
Decades in AI research. She understands the nuts and bolts and combines that rigor with a real gift for explaining things clearly, which is the amazing part. Because the review says she explains really complex things, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, in a way that's super easy to understand.
And that's huge because those terms, they can be intimidating, right?
Definitely. Even for people in tech sometimes.
So simplifying them without dumbing them down or losing the accuracy, that's a real challenge. Mitchell seems to nail it.
The review quote was great. No jargon, no confusion, just smart, simple explanations.
That speaks directly to what you need, right? Getting the fundamentals without needing a PhD.
Why do you think an expert like her chooses that accessible path? It's not always the case.
That's a great question. Maybe it's about democratizing understanding, ensuring everyone, not just specialists, can grasp what AI is and what it means.
So it encourages more thoughtful discussion, maybe. Less fear, less blind acceptance.
I think so. It empowers you, the listener, to actually participate in the conversation about where AI is going.
And this leads to the core promise of her book, doesn't it? Exploring what AI is really capable of.
And crucially, what it isn't.
That dual focus feels important. Because you hear so much about the capabilities, sometimes wildly exaggerated.
Right. Without enough attention paid to the limits. The real fundamental limitations. It's like people think admitting limits dulls the excitement.
When actually understanding the boundaries is just as important, maybe more so.
Absolutely critical. If you want to be an informed thinker, you need both sides of the coin, what it can do and what it really struggles with.
It sets you up for a more realistic view.
Exactly, a sober assessment, which is way more useful than just, extreme hype or extreme doom. It gives you a solid mental model.
Okay, let's dig into that more. The journey through AI's evolution, the core mechanics, all through Mitchell's clear explanations.
Right. The review stresses again how she makes things like machine learning, deep learning, neural networks super easy to understand.
And that's vital, especially if you don't have a tech background, right?
Yeah.
It builds that foundation.
It's paramount. Think about encountering those terms cold. Machine learning sounds like robots waking up. Deep learning sounds philosophical. Neural networks instantly makes you think human brain.
Which can be really misleading.
Hugely misleading. Without clear explanations like Mitchell's, those terms just add to the confusion, the misconceptions, maybe even fear. It makes it hard to separate the science from the fiction.
So can you give us a taste of that Mitchell-style clarity, like machine learning?
Okay, so think of it like this. Machine learning systems learn directly from data. They spot patterns, make predictions, but without being explicitly programmed for every single rule.
So less like following a strict recipe, more like learning by example.
Exactly, like teaching a kid animals by showing lots of pictures, dog, another cat, instead of giving them a rule book. The machine finds the patterns itself. It generalizes.
Okay, that makes sense. And deep learning.
So deep learning is a type of machine learning, a more powerful one usually. It uses these things called neural networks with many layers.
Inspired by the brain, you said.
Inspired by, yeah, but not identical. Imagine information flowing through layers of connected nodes. Each layer processes it, refines the understanding, passes it on.
And the learning part.
The system adjusts the connections between these nodes based on feedback, like pathways getting stronger or weaker. This makes them really good at complex stuff, like recognizing images or understanding speech. They're amazing pattern detectors.
And just understanding these basics, how does that help you, the listener?
It empowers you. You can better interpret the news. You understand the difference between an AI identifying a tumor, a pattern task, and one claiming understanding.
It's like a shield against the hype.
Exactly. And the key to asking smarter questions about new AI stuff.
Mitchell also grounds this in history, right? It's not just about the now.
Yes, she takes you on this journey from Alan Turing to today's breakthroughs, starting with Turing as key.
The father of computation, basically.
His ideas about computation, machine intelligence, back in the mid-20th century. He laid the conceptual groundwork for everything.
So understanding that history shows AI wasn't an overnight thing.
Not at all. It shows decades of work, research, trials, errors, lots of slow progress. It helps manage expectations too. Today's systems build on simpler beginnings.
It puts things in perspective. The review mentioned examples like AlphaGo in self-driving cars.
Right, as examples of current breakthroughs, concrete examples of what AI can do. AlphaGo beating the world Go champion, that was huge.
It learned strategies humans hadn't thought of?
Yes, by analyzing millions of games and playing itself using deep neural networks. A real watershed moment.
And self-driving cars. Navigating roads is incredibly complex.
Absolutely. They use AI for perception seeing with sensors, cameras, and for making decisions in real time, avoiding obstacles, following rules.
Pretty amazing achievements.
Remarkable. Superhuman in specific narrow areas. But, and this is pure Mitchell, even these have critical limitations.
Which brings us to that crucial point. Strengths and serious limitations.
This is where it gets really interesting. The review calls it the unique aspect of her book, showing both sides.
Because just marveling isn't enough. You have to know what it can't do, or struggles with.
Exactly. What does serious limitations even mean beyond just bugs?
Yeah, what's the difference?
It hints at fundamental differences in how machines and humans process the world. Like current AI often lacks basic common sense.
Common sense, like knowing you can't eat bricks.
Precisely. An AI might identify a cat flawlessly, but it doesn't know cats can't fly or that they like laser pointers. Its understanding is statistical, pattern-based, not conceptual, not based on experience.
So it could learn every recipe online. But if you asked for a brick flour cake,
It might just combine brick and flour patterns. It lacks that grounding in the physical, edible world. It doesn't experience things.
wow, and not recognizing these limits, that's dangerous.
It can be. Over-reliance, misplaced trust. Imagine a self-driving car facing a truly weird, unpredictable situation it wasn't trained on.
Or a medical AI missing a rare condition because it's statistically unlikely in its data.
Exactly. These aren't minor glitches. They have real-world consequences.
So why is grasping this so critical for you, the listener, to be an informed thinker?
Because it lets you engage critically. You can ask, what data was it trained on? What are its blind spots? Where does its understanding fall short?
Moving from just being impressed to being discerning.
Yes, which is crucial for navigating a world increasingly full of these powerful but still limited tools. Understanding that gap between performance and real understanding.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beyond the algorithms, Mitchell dives into the deeper stuff, right? Philosophical, ethical dimensions.
She really does. The review mentions she tackles the big questions like, what is intelligence really?
Which isn't just about calculation speed.
Not at all. It's philosophical. It makes us question our own understanding of thinking, of cognition.
How do we define intelligence? It seems complicated.
It is. We think of problem solving, sure, but also creativity, emotional understanding, common sense, abstract thought, learning from experience.
Whole suite of things.
Right. And current AI excels at very narrow types of intelligence. Pattern recognition, calculation, optimization, within defined limits.
But compared to human general intelligence,
It often falls short, especially in areas like genuine creativity or common sense. An AI might paint a masterpiece in the style of Van Gogh.
but does it feel the angst or understand the aesthetics?
Exactly. Or is it just statistically combining pixel patterns it learned from Van Gogh's work? It's simulating creativity, arguably, not originating it from understanding or intent.
It really makes you think about your own definition. Does intelligence need consciousness, feelings, experience?
And how does AI challenge those definitions? Is AlphaGo intelligent, like a human grandmaster who feels pressure, enjoys the game's beauty?
Or is it just incredibly sophisticated pattern matching? Mitchell pushes us to see that nuance, acting intelligent versus being intelligent.
Which leads right into that other massive question. Can machines ever truly understand or be conscious?
Probably the biggest question of all.
And the most contentious. It gets to the core of sentience, subjective experience. Is there a difference between simulating understanding, generating coherent text, answering questions, and actually grasping the meaning?
Does the AI understand the words it uses? Or just know which word is statistically likely to come next?
That's the million-dollar question. Is it just an incredibly complex prediction engine?
This isn't a new debate, philosophically, but AI makes it tangible.
It does. And the consciousness part? Is it just something that emerges from enough complexity, like software on hardware?
Or is it fundamentally biological, tied to our brains, our bodies, our evolution?
Mitchell doesn't pretend to have the final answers. Nobody does yet. But she makes you grapple with these profound unknowns.
I think about the implications. If machines could become conscious, what then?
Rights, intentions, fears, would they replace us? It's mind-bending stuff, but she keeps it grounded in current reality, not just sci-fi speculation.
Which naturally leads to the practical ethical side. If these things are powerful, we need to talk responsibility.
Absolutely. The review highlights her focus. How do we deal with bias and ethics in AI? This is where the abstract hits the real world. Hard.
Bias in AI is a huge topic now.
Critical. And Mitchell explains it clearly. It's not some abstract technical flaw. It has real, often discriminatory effects on people's lives.
Where does it come from?
Often the data. If the training data reflects societal biases, like facial recognition data being mostly white, or historical loan data showing discrimination, the AI learns those biases.
Like teaching a student with a flawed textbook.
Precisely. Bias in, bias out. Sometimes it even amplifies the bias, and design choices can introduce it too, even unintentionally.
And the impact. We hear about facial recognition feeling on darker skin tones.
Right, leading to misidentification, false arrests, or hiring algorithms screening out women for jobs based on historical patterns.
Loan applications denying minorities.
Exacerbating inequality.
These are real problems. Mitchell stresses the need for human oversight, careful data curation, accountability. We have to build and monitor these things ethically. So, for you listening, how can you contribute to this ethical AI conversation?
By understanding how bias creeps in, You can then critically look at AI applications you encounter, ask questions, advocate for transparency, diverse teams, robust ethical checks.
Your informed perspective matters.
It's vital to shape AI so it benefits everyone fairly, builds trust, and doesn't just replicate our existing problems. It's a tool. Its impact depends on how we use it.
Okay, let's tackle something practical. The book came out in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
AI moves incredibly fast. ChatGPT, GPT-4. That's all happened since. So you might be wondering, is a 2019 book still relevant?
That's a totally fair question. The reviewer acknowledges this, mentioning it might feel a bit behind on the very latest models.
Because the specific tech landscape has changed dramatically.
It absolutely has. Transformer architectures, massive models, they've shifted things significantly since 2019. So why would an older book still be valuable?
This is where Mitchell's approach really shines, isn't it?
Yes. Because while the specific models might be newer, the fundamental principles she discusses, the core questions, the ethical issues, they haven't changed. They're enduring.
The review counters the age issue by saying its core insights are still spot on and super relevant today.
Exactly. So what are these core insights? They're not about software versions. They're about the underlying concepts.
Like the nature of intelligence itself,
Mm-hmm.
or what learning means for a machine.
Precisely. Those questions are still the same. The challenge of bias, how we define consciousness, the limits of algorithms. These persist, whether we're talking about an early neural net or GPT-4.
It's like understanding basic physics helps you understand new rockets, even if the tech is cutting edge.
That's a great analogy. Mitchell gives you the physics of AI, a stable framework. Understanding these fundamentals equips you way better to grasp new developments.
So you're not just chasing buzzwords.
Right. You have a mental model to evaluate new claims critically. It provides a timeless lens.
And that relevance makes it a great guide for becoming that informed thinker. It gives you the tools to see the bigger picture.
Exactly. It equips you for the long haul, not just the latest news cycle.
So, thinking about who this is really for, who benefits most from Mitchell's insights?
Well, the review nails it, I think. It says, absolutely, especially if you're curious about AI, but don't want to be overwhelmed by tech talk.
That sounds exactly like our listeners. Curious, wanting depth, but not wanting to drown in jargon.
Yeah, the learner persona, craving those aha moments without the information overload.
The review mentions specific groups, too.
Mm-hmm. A perfect book for students, professionals, or anyone who just wants to be an informed thinker. For students, it's foundational AI literacy. For professionals, it's crucial for strategy, adopting tools wisely, understanding market shifts.
And for everyone else.
It's about navigating daily life in an AI world with more clarity and confidence.
And why is being an informed thinker so important right now? It feels more critical than ever.
It really is. It's about critical thinking, separating truth from hype. It's about civic engagement, understanding AI's impact on jobs, privacy, healthcare, so you can participate in shaping its future.
And just navigating the world, making conscious choices about these tools.
Exactly, understanding their impact on society.
The review uses some great words to describe the book's value. Thoughtful, balanced, and genuinely helpful. And it got a 4.5 out of 5 rating.
Those words really capture it. Thoughtful means it makes you think deeply, avoids easy answers.
Pushes you beyond the surface.
Right. Balanced means it avoids extremes. No blind optimism, no doomsaying. It shows strengths and limitations realistically.
Giving you a nuanced view.
And genuinely helpful. That means practical clarity. It gives you the mental tools, the vocabulary, the critical skills to engage confidently.
So it empowers you to form your own opinions.
Exactly. Not just absorbing headlines. You can evaluate, question, contribute. That's the goal.
Which is precisely what we aim for in this deep dive too. Empowering you with confidence and clarity. So as we wrap up this deep dive, wow, we've covered a lot. We journeyed through the AI landscape, tried to cut through that hype using Melanie Mitchell's Artificial Intelligence, a guide for thinking humans.
We saw why understanding both the amazing capabilities and the serious limitations is so vital.
We look at the history, right? From Turing to things like AlphaGo, grounding today in the past.
And we definitely got into the big philosophical questions. What is intelligence? Can machines be conscious or truly understand?
Plus the really crucial ethical stuff, bias, responsibility, accountability, the real-world impact.
Yeah, the need for vigilance and making sure AI serves humanity fairly.
And critically, we saw why Mitchell's core insights remain so relevant, even though the tech moves fast. that foundational understanding, the physics of AI.
It gives you that stable framework to understand whatever comes next. Her book really is a fantastic resource for becoming that informed, thoughtful thinker.
We really hope this deep dive has helped you on that journey to understand AI more clearly, more critically.
Remember, it's not about becoming a coder necessarily. It's about becoming skilled in thinking critically about technology and its role in our lives.
So as you go out there into this world increasingly shaped by AI, we want to leave you with one final thought to chew on, something that builds on everything we talked about: intelligence, consciousness, humanity.
Okay.
Given AI's incredible progress, its ability to simulate creativity, reason, create realistic stuff, what's one uniquely human attribute?
Mm,
Something you believe will always remain beyond AI's grasp. And why do you think that?
that's a deep one. Something to really ponder,
Yeah.
reflect on that, keep learning, keep thinking critically, keep asking questions.
We look forward to diving deep with you again next time.